the Mat, episode 3. This episode is a little bit different because today my co-host, Jacob Doherty, is going to be interviewing me about college wrestling.
Yeah. So, congratulations on your commitment, by the way.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to ask you a couple questions about, like, the recruitment process, like, what brought you to Bridgewater versus other schools. And, yeah, so we could start off with how did the recruitment process work? Like, how did you start getting into that? How did they reach out?
So it's actually a weirder story. So I knew I wanted to wrestle in college this year. Like, I figured that out pretty early, like in football season. And my college, I was almost convinced I was going to was Plymouth State. And I messaged their wrestling coach. I talked to a few of their wrestlers. And it looked like I was going to wrestle there. I applied to Bridgewater. I never really thought about wrestling there. I don't know why I never really thought about wrestling there, but I never really thought about it. And I was at I was at All States, and I was sitting down, and I got a tap on the shoulder, and it was Coach Fox Maxwell, who came to one of our practices. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
And he was like, so you were going to wrestle at Plymouth State? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to try. And then he started talking to me a little bit. He was like...
Is he the head coach?
He is an assistant.
Ah.
So he was like, listen, there's, let's talk. You want to do education, right? And I was like, yeah, at the time I was thinking education. He's like, so Plymouth State's not going to prepare you for the eventual or whatever it's called. I forget what it's called now. I'm pretty sure eventual, which is the test you have to take to be a teacher. So Plymouth State being a New Hampshire school wouldn't prepare me for that, but Massachusetts schools like Bridgewater would. He's like, have you considered Bridgewater? And I was like, yeah, not really. Like I applied to the school and whatnot. And then he's like, all right, let me get your phone number. Let's talk. And we were texting a little bit. And then he was like, hey, accepted students day is coming up. Why don't you come to that? And like we're gonna have a little wrestling thing in the morning, like talking to the wrestlers. So I went to that. I kind of sat down. I didn't really know anyone. I was talking. So I was sitting like in the end of the row to the right, and right in front of me was, I'm pretty sure, one of their heavyweights and one of their captains. And I was talking to the captain a little bit, and behind me was another recruit, a kid that wanted to come wrestle there. So, yeah, we started talking. There was a big slideshow, like an hour-long presentation, stuff about the school, academics, classes, wrestling, like what that's like if anybody wanted to do dual sports, like football, wrestling track, because there's multiple athletes on that team who do both. So we talked about all of that. We got to know, like, the head coach, Coach Camissa. We talked to him, and we talked to Fox Maxwell. And, yeah, it was a presentation. And then Fox took me, and I don't know his name. I don't know if he's going to Bridgewater, but me and another kid on a tour with one of the captains, the one that was sitting in front of me. And the captain was talking to me. He's like, oh, my brother wrestled at Plymouth State. And I was like, oh, cool. What do you think about it? Because, I'm still considering. And he's like, it was kind of just, like, Like, it wasn't like much of a team, much of a family. And I'm not saying that. I like all the relationships I've built at Plymouth State. But, yeah, he was like, his brother said it wasn't really, like, it didn't feel like a family. It wasn't like, he didn't feel like it was well run. And they've also had multiple coaches in the past few years. And with any program, if they have multiple coaches, it means the program's not doing well. And he also brought up the fact, he's like, listen, we smoke Plymouth every year. When we wrestle them, they wrestled 3 duels this year, and they lost all 3. Plymouth lost all 3. So Bridgewater is, the better school for wrestling, I guess you could say right now. And again, this is, if anyone from Plymouth hears this, is no hate to you guys. All of you guys are awesome. I wish nothing but the best for all of you. But, yeah, so I basically talked to Fox Maxwell. We went on another, we finished the tour. We got to the accepted students day part, and I forget her name now. I feel terrible about it. I'm pretty sure it's Fox's girlfriend was like, so what are you still considering, like, Plym? And at that point, there was really no doubt in my mind that I was going to go to Bridgewater, but I don't know. I wasn't completely sold yet, and I remember saying to her, I was like, I don't look good in red. Like, that's exactly what I said, and it looked like such an idiot saying it. But, yeah, about, 10 minutes later, walking around, talking to Tommy Dicker, a Watertown wrestler, Matt. I forget where I think he wrestled in Weston. We were all talking, and I was like, yeah, this is a place I can see myself. I like all these people. I like the campus. The academics are good. So there was just, after like the tour, there was really nothing. And I walked up to Coach. I was like, yeah, I'm coming here next year, Coach Fox Maxwell. And he was like, awesome. So, yeah, that's honestly how the recruitment process worked. A little different than most, but yeah.
Anything about the school that you liked better than other schools that you've toured or were getting recruited by that kind of sold you on that part?
Honestly, not really. Like, I liked the campus, and you know what really sold me was the robots they have. So Bridgewater has robots that, like, let's say you're in your room, you're a little like hungry, you can just order food from the robots. It's awesome. And no other schools really had that. Bridgewater is also a little closer to home because Plym's about an hour and a half away, but Bridgewater's only 40 minutes. And I would like to go home to, like, obviously help out with the Wilmington wrestling team, see my friends, see my family, see my girlfriend. So, yeah, there was a couple factors, but yeah, honestly, both campuses are nice. I like Plymouth. I like the snow. I like the cold. But I don't know, something about Bridgewater felt like more like a community to me. Like, Plymouth seemed like this area, and Bridgewater seemed like a community. Like, everything I saw, I liked. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't nitpicking.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Is there any differences between Bridgewater and Plym, or what's the one big main factor that sold you on going to Bridgewater?
I think it was just the sense of family and camaraderie. Because when I was meeting with all the wrestlers, they were all talking, just like talking to me, building relationships, just talk. Like, at Plymouth, I met a few of the wrestlers. They were nice guys. I liked all of them, but like, I never really heard much from the Plymouth coach. And Fox was texting me pretty frequently, like, hey, what are you thinking about this? You still thinking about Bridgewater? What's going on here? What's going on? And it was more of like I could tell Fox wanted me to come there.
Yeah, like they wanted you there more. They didn't they're not like, oh, like, all right, you can come here. Cool, nice. All right, let's get to work. Not like they wanted to build things with you, know you and everything, and then, like, have you come there. And, like, even when you were just deciding whether to go to Plym or Bridgewater, they were trying to get you to come to Bridgewater, and Plym was just kind of hoping you would go to Plym.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd put it exactly like that, but at the end of the day, it came down to the academics are better. Like, that's on websites. You can look. Yeah. The academics are better at Bridgewater. Bridgewater is, like, a prestigious school from what I've been told. Like, people have told me that. And at the end of the day, I just feel like I can grow more as a wrestler at Bridgewater. There's no real reason for that. But just like Coach Morales, Coach Camissa, and Coach Fox, I feel like are three guys who have been to the big stage. They've been to the D3 national tournament. They've all been where I want to be. And I just feel like they're the best resource to help get me there.
Yeah, so how did your relationship with Fox Maxwell start, like, and how did it build over the years since when you started to meet him, and just how have you guys been, you know?
So I met him my junior year at a practice because there was a JV tournament, and the only people that didn't go to that tournament was me, Chella, Scone, and Big V. And we all got, like, a practice in, and we were all drilling and whatnot. And Fox was there, and I didn't really talk to him much. He was going over a few moves, but he had us do this treadmill workout where it was like you're running, and then you're sprinting on an incline, and then you, like, do something. I forget exactly the workout, but I remember pushing through that, and, like, I got in the hall. I was like, that was terrible. Like, that's the first thing I thought. I was like, that sucked. And I don't know. I kind of liked how he wasn't even a coach, but he was pushing us as much as Coach Mitchell, Coach Riley, Coach Walsh, and all of them were. He was pushing us. I liked how, like, because sometimes we'll have people come in and they'll show, like, a move. You know what I mean? And I like how he was like, all right, I'm going to show you all these moves where you're going to drill and then you're going to sprint. Like, he really wanted us to get better, which I really liked off rip. And then he came to a practice this year, as we talked about. Again, really didn't talk to him here, but really didn't talk to him too much there. But, yeah, I mean, our relationship mainly started when he found out I was going to wrestle at Plymouth State. And Fox Maxwell is a Wilmington guy, wrestled in Wilmington High School on the big stage with Coach Mitchell as his head coach. So I feel like both being Wilmington guys, we're both from Wilmington. We both went to Wilmington High School, wrestled in a Wilmington singlet. I don't know, I feel like that definitely gave us more of a bond than I could have with a different college coach who did not wrestle in Wilmington. It's a different experience.
Yeah. Moving off of that, like, what do you think your goals for your first year at Bridgewater versus what you think your goals might be on your senior year at Bridgewater for wrestling?
I think for my first year, I know college wrestling is a different game. It's like with any high school sport, it's so much harder. It's so much more fast-paced. It's so much different. So I feel like for my first year, I just want to get out there and get as much experience as I can and as much live wrestling. I want to pick up a few wins. I don't know. I don't assume that I'll be their number one guy at my weight because, again, I'm a freshman. I don't assume that. But obviously, I'd love to have that happen. But again, I can't really assume that. I'm a freshman. But I just my goal for year one is to grow exponentially as a wrestler. I want to grow to the point where I come back for a practice next year at Wilmington and everyone's like, who did you turn into? You know what I mean? But my senior year, my goals are obviously going to be to place at regionals, get to the D3 national tournament. That's like I'm gonna do everything I physically can to do that.
Yeah. Going off of the senior year part, do you think you want to transition into anything after, like MMA or any like martial art?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to transition to MMA after my senior year. That's going to be a lot of fun. I've wanted to do MMA since I was a kid. We've talked about this multiple times.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, there's something that I like about the thought of getting in a cage with gloves and it's just you and someone else, and you were quite literally just beating each other up for, I think the championship fights are 5 minutes, five rounds.
Yeah.
And then the regulars are like 3 minutes, 5 rounds.
Yeah.
Or three rounds, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But think about it, it's 15 minutes where you're just getting beat and beating someone.
Yeah.
And the thought of that is just really cool to me.
Yeah. We'll go to a point. How do you think Wilmington has prepared you for your 3 years, right? 3 years of wrestling at Wilmington High?
Yeah, 3 years.
What was your biggest person that has helped you, taught you the most, got you prepared for this moment you're in now?
I do got to say Coach Mitchell, definitely, because sophomore year when I started wrestling, I started a day into the season because I was like, all right, well, I'm bored. Why not wrestle? I think I can do this. And I really liked my first practice, and then everything after that, I was just getting kicked around every day. Because you got to think, it wasn't like young guys in the room. We had Luke Vitale, Adam Lopez, those were and Julian were my drill partners. Those were kids that I would go live with frequently. And, I mean, obviously Luke Vitale won sectionals at 126 his senior year. Julian won 138 that year as a sophomore at sectionals. They both went to states. I believe they both went to all states. And Adam didn't get the chance to wrestle in sectionals because he unfortunately got a concussion. But Adam was a good wrestler. Adam was just great. Very aggressive. And he didn't wrestle a whole lot, but he got wins.
Mm-hmm.
He's
really nice.
I like when when we played Winchester, or we didn't play Winchester, we wrestled Winchester. I'm thinking about baseball right now because we just were talking about that. No, when we wrestled Winchester, there was 8 seconds left in the third. He was down, and they started on top. I think they went out of bounds. He couldn't get up. He just reached his arm back, stood up, and hip tossed the kid, got him on his neck, and got up with no reaction, just jogged over. And I was like, that was cold. That was that was awesome. That was such a good win for us because we needed. I think that win, if we didn't have any of our wins, because Julian beat his kid easily. You know who he beat that match? You know who he beat? Tony D.
Yeah, actually.
He threw Tony D that match.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. Wait, Adam did?
Adam threw Tony D with 6 seconds left. It was really funny.
That's wild. All right, is there any other things you want to say to wrap up with your commitment at Bridgewater State? Any shout-outs, anything?
Yeah, just something to wrap up. I feel like wrestling gets not a great rep at our school. Everyone's like, oh, I don't want to wrestle. Why would I want to wrestle? Blah, blah, blah. I do this. Oh, I don't do anything. But wrestling has prepared me so much for everything because I don't think you understood it either till this year. There's nothing like putting your foot on a line with somebody who wants to hurt you. Somebody who their only goal is to beat you. Their goal, in baseball, your goal when you get up to the plate is to get a hit. Your goal is to drive in a run. Your goal is to, you know what I mean? Like, you have all these goals. Their one goal is to get you on your back.
Yeah.
And they're going to do that by any means necessary. Like, you'll see guys, like, standing on their neck, like on a neck bridge, and it's uncomfortable. You know how uncomfortable neck bridges are. And, like, through practice, we are suffering for 2 hours. It's terrible. I'm wearing 3 sweatshirts. I'm gassed. I'm tired, and you don't stop. The amount of suffering you do in wrestling and the amount of hard work and dedication it takes will prepare you for anything. Because after wrestling, football became easy. Like, doing the conditioning at football was easy. And everyone else is gassed. I'm like, this is way... Like, I just kept thinking, like, wrestling was way harder than this.
Yeah.
But I do want to shout out Coach Mitchell, Coach Riley, Coach Adams, obviously Fox Maxwell, Coach Camissa. I'm really excited to start at Bridgewater next year. But, yeah, that's all I honestly have to say about it.
Yeah, congratulations on your commitment once again, and I think that's all we have.
That's all we have. So that was On the Mat, Episode 3 of Bridgewater State Edition. Thank you to Jacob for asking the questions.
Thank you.
And we will see you guys for our next episode.
Peace.